At the beginning of the movie, we see a girl driving on a road surrounded by huge mountains. Everything was normal, but suddenly a landslide starts in those mountains, causing her car to lose control and crash badly. During this dangerous moment, her vehicle slips from the road and becomes trapped between the mountains. She receives serious injuries and her condition becomes very critical. Luckily, a rescue helicopter reaches the place at the perfect time to help her. The head of that rescue team is Lee, who is also the movie's main character. He first sends his partner toward the car to pull the girl out safely. His partner successfully takes her out, but he himself ends up getting trapped there. Now Lee steps in to rescue both of them. Hanging from the helicopter with a rope, he reaches them and somehow manages to save both people before bringing them safely back into the helicopter. Everyone feels relieved and happy. At last, the girl's life is saved successfully, although her car falls deep into the mountains. After that, the scene shifts toward Dr. Lawrence at the University of California. Dr. Lawrence is a seismologist whose work involves studying earthquakes. At that moment, he was explaining to his students about a major earthquake that struck California in 1964. It was so destructive that it felt like several atomic bombs had exploded together, and its damage remained visible for years. Lawrence explains that such a powerful earthquake appears only once every 1,500 years. He further says that California's San Andreas Fault line exists on the Earth's tectonic plates, making this area extremely vulnerable to earthquakes. After some time, we see Dr. Lawrence sitting inside his office when one of his students rushes in and informs him that a quake has just taken place. Without wasting time, they stop their work and head out to check the quake's intensity. They move toward a giant dam where they usually measured earthquake activity. While they were carrying out their work there, the readings on their machines suddenly begin changing. The wave patterns become unusually strong and dangerous. Before anyone could understand what was happening, a massive earthquake suddenly strikes the area. Actually, those unusual waves had already indicated that an earthquake was approaching. Everyone immediately starts running to save themselves. During the chaos, Dr. Lawrence's colleagues notice a girl trapped near the dam. As she tries escaping, another powerful shock suddenly blocks her path. To save her, they lower her down toward Dr. Lawrence. Moments later, another huge tremor completely destroys the dam, and Dr. Lawrence's colleagues lose their lives. The scene changes, and now we see Ray, who receives an emergency message asking him to come to the same dam. After the earthquake, many people had become trapped there. Before leaving, Ray says goodbye to his daughter who lived with her mother. This means Ray and his wife were already divorced. Their daughter stayed with her mother and her mother's fiancé. Daniel had to travel to San Francisco for a meeting and planned to take Emma and Black with him. In San Francisco, Black meets a girl. She was accompanied by her younger brother as well. Black enjoys talking with both of them, and after spending some time together, they quickly become friends. Anyway, the movie again shows the dam that had been destroyed during the earthquake. News about this disaster had now spread everywhere around the world. Since Dr. Lawrence was present there during the incident, a reporter arrives to interview him. She asks Dr. Lawrence how such an earthquake happened there, but before he could reply, two frightened students come running toward him. They were carrying an important report. The moment Dr. Lawrence looks at it, fear appears on his face too. The report reveals that a massive earthquake was about to strike San Andreas. This upcoming earthquake was expected to be so destructive that it could affect all nearby cities completely. Very little time remained before it arrived, and there wasn't enough time to evacuate people from those areas. Now we see Ray's wife Emma sitting in a restaurant located at the top of a building during a meeting. Suddenly, everything on her table begins shaking. In reality, the earthquake had already started. From the outside view of the building, we see nearby bridges collapsing one after another. The building itself shakes so violently that it feels as if it may collapse at any moment. In this terrifying situation, Emma quickly calls Ray because she knew that no matter what happened, Ray would definitely come to save her. At that moment, Ray, who worked as a rescue officer, was still flying in his helicopter. He tells Emma not to panic and assures her that he will reach there soon and save her. Meanwhile, we are shown that buildings across the area had already started collapsing. Panic had spread everywhere. People were shouting and trying desperately to save themselves. Emma decides to return to the upper floor of the building because she believed Ray would come looking for her there. But the moment she opens the stairway door, she realizes that another section of the building has already collapsed completely. Many people were hanging there while struggling to survive. Some people were even falling from above like lifeless dolls dropping through the air. Emma somehow reaches the top of the building. Just before another dangerous object could strike her, Ray finally arrives there. He immediately throws a rescue net toward her, and Emma quickly starts moving toward it. Behind her, an enormous building was about to collapse, and only moments before it could crush her, she climbs safely using the net. During all this destruction, another building nearly crashes into Ray's helicopter, but he somehow manages to control it and avoid disaster. At last, he succeeds in saving Emma, but while flying above, he notices realizes that the city's condition had become terrible. Almost every building around had been destroyed. After the scene changes, we move to San Francisco where Daniel and Black are together. Both of them were about to leave a parking area when suddenly another disaster takes place there. The ground breaks apart in front of them and their car becomes trapped inside the crack. Daniel somehow escapes from the vehicle and saves himself, but Black remains stuck inside and Daniel fails to pull him out. He goes outside searching for help but sees complete chaos all around him. Buildings had collapsed and terrified people were running in every direction. Looking at the horrible situation, fear takes over him and he starts thinking about saving himself first. Because of that, Daniel leaves Black behind in danger and runs away. Black, who was still trapped inside the car, suddenly notices a girl nearby. She was the same girl Black had met earlier at the San Francisco airport with her younger brother. She recognizes Black immediately and comes to help him. Using a rod, she manages to pull the car out from the damaged area and saves his life. After all three of them finally escape from the building, they become shocked after seeing the condition of the city. After struggling through the destruction, Black reaches a place where he finds a phone. From there, she quickly calls her father and says, "Dad, please save me. The city is completely destroyed." Ray answers and tells her not to worry. He says that she should move toward a higher place because he will come to rescue her soon. Right after that, Ray immediately heads toward San Francisco. Meanwhile, in San Francisco, we see that the earthquake had temporarily stopped. People were trying to locate safer places and believed the danger had passed. But through Dr. Lawrence, we learn that the earthquake had only paused for a short period. In reality, an even bigger and more dangerous quake was still on its way. As soon as he says this, the scene shifts back to San Francisco where that terrifying earthquake finally arrives. Buildings begin collapsing as if they were made of nothing more than sand. People stand close to walls and corners, desperately trying to survive. Daniel, Emma's fiancé, was also present there. When he sees people hanging near a wall, he pulls one man away but then takes that place himself. At the same time, Ray and Emma were flying through the air in their helicopter when suddenly its fuel runs out. Their helicopter loses control and crashes into a mall. Fortunately, both of them survive without serious injuries. They were still far from their daughter and had to reach San Francisco somehow. For that reason, they steal a car and continue their journey. After driving for some distance, Ray suddenly applies the brakes because there was a huge gap ahead. After stepping out and checking, they discover that the crack in the ground stretched hundreds of meters deep. If the car had fallen there, escaping would have been impossible. Now that road to San Francisco was no longer usable, so they begin searching for another option. Soon, an elderly couple arrives in a car and asks what happened. Ray explains that they needed to reach San Francisco no matter what. Later, they discover that the old man was actually a pilot and owned a private airplane. He gives Ray permission to use it so that he can continue saving lives. Ray boards the plane and leaves for San Francisco. Eventually, they reach San Francisco, but Ray notices there was no safe place available for landing, so he takes Emma and jumps out. A stadium was located below them where they safely land. From there, he contacts his daughter and tells her to come to the stadium. However, Black could not reach there because the stadium was located on the opposite side of the city and was too far away. Now everything depended on Ray. He goes outside and looks toward the nearby sea where suddenly an idea comes to his mind. He realizes that reaching Black by sea may be possible. They begin moving quickly when suddenly they notice huge clouds coming toward them. But after getting closer, they realize those were not clouds at all. It was actually a massive tsunami moving through the ocean, and its giant waves had already swallowed many boats. However, Ray was a trained rescue officer and knew very well how to deal with situations like this. He immediately increases the speed of his boat and successfully drives over the giant wave. But their problems were still not over because he suddenly notices a huge ship moving directly toward them that could destroy their boat completely. Ray quickly changes the direction of the boat and narrowly avoids crashing into the ship. Right after that, another danger appears when a large container starts falling toward them. Ray once again controls the boat carefully and manages to escape before the container can hit them. Eventually, they finally reach the place where their daughter was supposed to be. But after arriving there, they are unable to find her because Black was trapped inside a building. Black notices her mother outside and starts calling for her. However, because a thick glass window separated them, she was unable to reach them. In this difficult situation, Ray and Emma start moving away from that area. But then Emma notices a green laser light in Black's hand. They immediately turn around and look back. At last, they finally spot Black's location. But before they could rescue her, the massive storm that had already swallowed the city destroys the building. The floor where Black was standing suddenly breaks apart and falls into the water. Seeing this dangerous moment, Ray immediately jumps into the water and goes after his daughter. Meanwhile, Black's friend was trying hard to break the window using a stick, but the glass was extremely strong. Breaking it with that stick seemed almost impossible. Emma notices him and points toward him because he crashes through it using the boat. boat. At this moment, we see that Ray had already managed to save his daughter. He pulls Black out of the water and brings her safely onto the boat. However, Black was still unconscious. Ray desperately keeps trying to wake her up. At the same time, Emma was struggling to control the boat because the storm was smashing buildings around them. The boat was moving dangerously close to another building. Just before the building could collapse onto them, Emma successfully moves the boat away from there. Meanwhile, Ray continues trying to wake his daughter. A few moments later, he notices that Black finally opens her eyes. After she regains consciousness, all of them leave that place together. After some time, we are shown that the storm had completely ended. The terrible disaster had finally passed. Now everything had become quiet, although the city itself was left in ruins. Rescue teams had arrived and started helping people. Ray and his family had also survived, along with Black's friend Ben and his younger brother. Now they had decided that Ben would stay with them as well because his parents were no longer alive. And here, Black had also started liking him. Showing everyone safe and together, the movie finally comes to an end.